Hi, everyone. This is Kevin Limtow describing my Project 6 quadcopter real-time video project. The system described here is pretty straightforward, using a lot of the hardware that came in our quadcopter kit from the course materials, as well as a couple pieces of hardware that I purchased myself, like the Raspberry Pi and a battery pack. It's really, the project is a combination of hardware and software necessary to capture some live video on a Raspberry Pi, stream it to a host PC, and then display that video from the quadcopter as it's flying to a host PC. So I'll go ahead and kind of describe here just the really high level requirements. Again, we're going to use a USB webcam and mount it onto the quadcopter that we built as part of Project 4. We also need to mount the Raspberry Pi to that quadcopter, capture live video on that Raspberry Pi, stream it to a host PC, and then display it on the host PC as well. So the derived requirements here, really there's two key pieces of software programs that I'm using for this project. Both were described in the Canvas instructional materials. One is RASP-AP, which helps us set up a wireless access point to facilitate video server streaming. The second is Motion software. It's a software application that actually predates the Raspberry Pis, as far as I can tell. It says that per the website, they say that they started back in 2000. But nonetheless, we can use both of these programs to facilitate the project requirements here. The hardware setup is pretty straightforward. I have the Raspberry Pi 4, which is the one I purchased for use in this course. I have that communicating with a host PC over Wi-Fi. I have it powered with just a basic phone charger battery pack that provides enough current for the Raspberry Pi to actually operate. And then I have the webcam that came in our quadcopter kit and just hooked up to the actually very cool retractable USB cable going to one of the USB 2.0 ports. Again, I mentioned the software used in this project. The Raspberry Pi OS image that I'm using is just a fresh, clean install running kernel version 5.15, Debian version 11 Bullseye with a pretty recent release date. That's just the Raspberry Pi OS. I think previously used to be called Raspbian, but now it's Raspberry Pi OS. I'm also using the Motion software application and the RASP-AP program, both recent releases that are available now. And that's basically it. So you'll see here in the implementation, I have set up the Raspberry Pi using, pretty basic setup instructions. I've upgraded my quadcopter now to have the Raspberry Pi 4 inside of a plastic case. I believe this is actually the official Raspberry Pi case. It doesn't do any heat sinking passively or actively, which is a little bit of a shame, but it's cheap. I have my battery pack charger mounted to the bottom of the quadcopter. Everything is just double stick taped together. I have a USB cable powering the Raspberry Pi via USB-C, and I have the webcam with the USB cable connected to that Raspberry Pi. And there it is in pretty much all its glory. And so now I'll go ahead and actually show how I set up the software on the Raspberry Pi in order to take the webcam footage. So I'll go ahead and cut here and share the Raspberry Pi side of things. Hi, everyone. So what you're hopefully seeing here is the VNC viewer of the VNC server that is running on my Raspberry Pi right now. I initially did this video recording trying to connect my host PC to the Raspberry Pi as an access point, but I think the wireless connectivity is so slow that the recording was not going through as planned. So what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and skip that part. I do have the RASP-AP set up as a wireless access point, but I'll do that when I'm flying the quadcopter and not when I'm recording the Zoom video. So here I'm just going to show how I start up the Motion server and start up the Motion server. So that should start it up appropriately. And now I'm going to go ahead and swap over to my browser on my host PC and say hi to the webcam that I have set up on my quadcopter, which is sitting on my desk right now. Now I have demonstrated that I have the Raspberry Pi set up with the webcam and the motion software, and I can appropriately use my host PC's web browser to access the IP address and the port that I'm using to stream over this webcam video footage. And so I should be able to, at the very least, be able to fly my quadcopter, stream it to my host PC, and use any manner of screen capture tools in order to record the video that I collect with the webcam that you see here. And so let's hope that goes well, and I'll go ahead and cut over to the actual webcam footage with the quadcopter in flight. Thank you.
All right, I'm setting up for test flight. Okay, we're up and running and we're flying. All right, that was test flight number 1. All right, this is test flight number 2. I'm going to hit record on my webcam. I'm going to arm the drone. And we have liftoff.